Hi everyone, this is Ting from Ting Yuan Art. Today I'm going to talk about how I use symbolism in my art to communicate with my customers and how symbolism is something that anyone can do. And I do believe that most artists use symbolism in their art, maybe more personally, but I use a lot of symbolism that is well known in folklore, in dreams, in religions, as well. I use a lot of personal symbols to showcase in my artwork so that I can communicate with my customers. Now today I'm going to do something different because I want to flip this camera around so that I can show you my work up close so that it's not further away and you can see all the details as well. So right now I'm holding my camera. It's a little shaky. I'm really sorry about that. But hopefully that I'll keep my hands nice and steady for the next phase of this video. Now, I believe art as an experience is something that is not something you just hang on the wall. Art should demand conversation and should amplify ambience. The way to communicate with my customers, I use a lot of symbolism in my work. And some of them are personal. And the personal one I still share because I do believe that it adds a certain level to the communication with my customer, and it creates a more rewarding and engaging connection. Hi, Amy. Nice to see you. Now I'm going to flip this camera around. I hope it works because I haven't done this before, so it's going to be interesting. And also another thing too, I find that in any genre of art, it's all possible to use symbolism in our work. Okay, so do use it as often as you can because it really opens up the conversation for yourself so that you can talk about your life and what the meaning is behind your work through the use of symbolism. So now I'm going to flip this around and see if this works. Okay, so here we are. This is called imagination. Okay. So here I use the symbolism of imagination as the three children playing shadow puppets. But instead of seeing the shadows, they could actually see the animals they're mimicking with their hands. So the story actually tells us that if we learn to basically use the gift that God given us as our best attributions and use it to our advantage, we can create peace and balance on earth. Right? The eagle stands for wisdom and intelligence, and the wolf stands for integrity, and then the little kid is actually holding the flashlight. All right? And also, if you don't use your gift properly, especially with imagination, you can actually create a lot of turmoil in your life because imagination is a yin and yang. If you know how to use it well, it creates wonderful peace on earth. If not, it can create a lot of turmoil. This piece is called Guardian. Now, Guardian is about how I believe that we are all responsible for each other's life. And we need to be each other's guardian angel. And the way that I did that in order to represent that we need to be each other's guardian angel is by using this umbrella. Because umbrella protects you from rain and storm. So for me to use the umbrella to shelter a town means that we can be each other's guardian angel, we can protect each other, and we should always stand by each other's side. And imagine the Me Too revolution wouldn't have happened if us women didn't stand for each other, didn't stand up for each other. It is so important to do so. And with the umbrella, I put butterflies on it, so it shows the beauty and the metamorphosing of how if one person would stand up for the other person that's in trouble, how much beauty the world can be, and how much we can change the world by just being each other's protector. Now this guardian is, the original painting was actually a mixed medium. Okay, so that's why you can see all these lines over here. And the butterflies was actually pasted. Some of them are pasted, some of them are painted on. And the girl, I did it so that there's an illusion of the town going through her dress because she has this ambience about her that she's almost like an angel, and that's how I use that as a symbol. So that's called the guardian. The next one I have, it's probably not great for vertical viewing, but this is called castles in the sky. Now, castles in the sky, I use a lot of personal meanings in it because I wanted the painting to be quirky. Castles in the sky is about building our dreams and knowing that if we build our dreams and never forget them, nor will the universe, and we keep working towards it, we will be able to accomplish it. As you can see, with castles in the sky, there's actually a bridge going to the castles. Okay? And this poor girl, she is actually a ballerina, and she's walking on this tightrope. And the tightrope is a little harder to get to the castles, and the monkeys are actually telling her, why don't you just take the bridge? That's why this monkey is pointing over there. And the other thing about this is that this monkey is tearing everything apart because he's just been naughty. He's tearing the rope apart so that he could give her some problem. But I gave her an umbrella, so in case anything happens, she can use the umbrella as her little parachute. So it's about how we built our dreams, and when there's troubles that come along, or if there's some difficulties, we need to keep forging on. And sometimes you do take the hard road, and sometimes you take the easier road. But I do believe in dreams, we take the easier road as we gain wisdom. And that is when everything becomes a little easier. As we're building our business, it's never an easy thing, or if you're starting something new, it's never easy. But remember, don't give up because, I do believe that if you don't give up, you gain a lot of wisdom. And when you gain a lot of wisdom, it's an amazing thing because when you accomplish it, my goodness, what a good feeling it is. And also, not only that, you can teach other people how to do it, and that's even more rewarding. And this one is called a leap of faith. A leap of faith. Now, I'll have to tell you that I use a lot of personal meanings here. In the previous painting that I showed you, as well as this one, has a lot of monkeys because I was traveling in Asia at that time, and I just love monkeys. Monkeys are so cute and mischievous, right? So this one is called a leap of faith, number 2, and is again the same girl. She's walking down the tightrope, and she's believing that, once she crosses the rope, she is going to be in a world of basically her dreams will be accomplished. She will be in the ideal world. And I painted it with 2 seagulls tying up her hair. So her hair, actually it's not seagulls, sorry, it's doves, tying up her hair so that her hair wouldn't get in the way as she's traversing across the rope. And this monkey is just telling her, come on, let's go. We can do this. And she's actually a very encouraging monkey. She's encouraging the ballerina to take the leap of faith and go for it. So again, I use doves as for peace. And then I use the rope as there is a risk, but it is possible. And then I use the monkey as a communicator, telling her what she should do. And then I use the doves. They're tying her hair up so that there's some kind of protection. Okay, so that's how I use symbolism in this work. Now this one, the next one I'm going to do is about my mother, and I know I have shown this work before. It's called The World According to Chinatown May. My mother was such a beautiful woman, and I lost my mom 5 months ago, so don't be surprised my voice cracked up. Last time when I talk about this painting, I actually ended up crying live. So that wasn't very, very good. But anyway, so here is May, the world according to Chinatown May. May had dementia, and she was such a lovely woman. She was a feminist, a courageous feminist, and she taught us all her girls how to become independent and to never depend on a man, to make your own living and be sufficient and efficient in your life, and to always stand up for yourself. So for me, May was my hero, And her full name is actually called Mei Ying, which means beautiful hero. And she really was heroic. She brought us four girls up and she sent us to Singapore for education because she didn't want us to be only Malay educated and Chinese education. She knew that the English was going to be the first would be the international language. So she wanted us to learn how to speak English at a very young age. She brought me to Singapore, and that's the reason why I didn't live with my mom since I was 6, because she wanted us to be educated in English, but her and my dad had a business in Malaysia. And so over here, my symbolism that I use is the musical notes. The musical notes because my mom was a songstress. Her dream was to become a songstress, but, she ended up having 4 girls, so she couldn't fulfill her dream. But she sang all the time. She always had some kind of musical books with her. The orchids represent her dementia stage. She had a love for orchids. When she was in Asia, she used to walk into the forest and she would, this is actually a story my big sis told me. She would actually pluck little exotic flowers from the forest and she would plant it in her orchid garden. And this orchid was actually purchased by my sister Pucci. And the orchids were actually made of silk. But because May's dementia problem, she actually thought that they were alive. And so whenever I visited her, she always claimed that, look how beautiful my orchids are. They're still alive after all these months. Matter of fact, they were alive for years and she kept watering them too. So after May passed away, Chin, my sister that's in Victoria that looked after her, she brought the vase and the orchids back to her home. And she said that it was still leaking water because mom watered it so much. And then I also put the Hong Bao here, which is the little package. In Chinese world, we don't really give gifts, but we do little Hong Bao for Chinese New Year. We usually put little money in there. And it's just to wish each other good health and prosperity. And then she was born in the year of the tiger. So I put the little tiger, and the tiger is playing with the little butterflies that flew into her room. And this picture actually has 4 little girls in there, so it shows that she had 4 daughters. And I put Chinese characters in there because of our origin. We are Malaysian Chinese. And then the lantern because it's a very symbolic symbols to use for the Chinese culture. And then at that time, she couldn't walk anymore without the assistance of a walker. So that was her faithful companion. She always had her little walker with her. And she tried not to use it because she has dementia, so she always forgets to use them. So us and the people in senior centers always telling her, May, use your walker. But anyway, that was the world according to Chinatown May. And here is Sky's the Limit. Sky's the Limit is about how we should never put a ceiling on our potential. We should always reach for the stars and the sky. So this one was very difficult for me to get the idea how to do it. And it actually took me a few years. That one day I was very relaxed on the couch and all of a sudden this idea came about that I was going to do this. So to explain how you can reach for the stars and, go always beyond your potential, I put this girl basically crushing the house and coming out so much bigger and better. And she's reaching for the stars. And we also have over here a little house with a dog. And now that is Brownie. This is one of the personal symbolism I use. Brownie was a dog that belonged to Auntie Daisy. And when I was 9 years old, I lived with Auntie Daisy. And Brownie was my constant companion. He was such a lovely dog. He was always keeping me company. And I talked to Brownie all the time. And my sisters used to tease me that I would marry Brownie one day. And this is Brownie's best friend, the duck. We did actually have a few ducks in that house of Auntie Daisy's house. And so this is called Sky's the Limit. Now this is self-acceptance. The symbolism I use here to represents self-acceptance is mirror. Mirror always stands for self-acceptance. So she's looking into the mirror at herself, at the reflection of herself, accepting her life. And the cherry blossoms stands for the beauty. And she's pushed into the corner because sometimes life is difficult. See the wall and also the room, she's actually pushed into a corner. Okay? So it just basically tells us that, everything in life is to teach us lessons. And we need to accept ourselves and to love ourselves and also to forgive ourselves. In whatever, things that we've done wrong, we have to realize there are lessons and we have to learn from them. And that's why the cherry blossom stands for the beauty. And the corner of the room stands for how, sometimes we feel really restricted in our life and in our dreams. And when we reflect into the mirror, we have to remember we need to accept ourselves and love ourselves because we are beautiful. And if we don't love ourselves, who's going to love us, right? And if we don't love ourselves, we would bring so much turmoil in people's lives because we are unhappy. So, ladies, always love yourself because it is so important. Love and happiness really start with us. This one's called Stargazer. And Stargazer is actually inspired by Stephen Hawking. Let me see if I can find his saying here. This was inspired, my sister actually sent me this wording. It says, look up at the sky and not down at your feet. Try to make sense of what you see and wonder what makes the universe exist. Be curious. So here you are. She's looking at the stars and wondering what this life is all about. And here my personal symbolism I use is the lighthouse because I just came back from Nova Scotia then. My husband and I were checking out Nova Scotia. And so the lighthouse was influenced by the trip to Nova Scotia. And here's the moon. The moon always stands for creativity and inspirations. So I hope you enjoyed that. So basically, I find that symbolism is so fascinating because it needs decoding. And sometimes they're personal, sometimes they're not, sometimes they're universal. But, for me, when I do my artwork, I always think of a way that I can talk to my customers because I do write the stories down, but at the same time, I want the customers to look at my painting and see that, there's a story behind it. So they'll look a little further into it because for us as humans, the only way to create this universal love and this balance and find each other a common ground to stand on is by communicating well. And if you are a writer, use symbolism in your work. And if you're a painter, use symbolism in your work. And I know musicians do that as well. So if you're an artist and you want to learn how to use it, I do have a free guide. It's called The Fascinating Symbolism of Art, I believe. Anyway, I'm going to put the link up above once this Facebook Live is over. And I hope you're going to start using it because it is the best way to communicate with your customers. I find it very rewarding because whenever I talk to my customers, we right away find a common ground. And it's a wonderful way to connect. And not only that, it just creates a deeper understanding. And don't we all want to connect with each other because the world really is so much smaller if we learn to know what each other's lives and difficulties and dreams are all about because we are so similar. And let's create a world that's united. Okay, thank you so much for joining me and I shall see you next week. So artists, if you want to use symbolism, I would put a link above once I'm finished with this video and hopefully you'll get use of it. All right, thank you.